Like that 3 days I heard Harikatha. Then I am supposed to go back to Bangalore. So after 6 months, Janmashtami time I met with Gurudev. When I saw first Gurudev, there was the big program was going on in the temple. All big panditas are sitting there, and big stage was there in the hall, and they were all speaking in Sanskrit and big panditas. And finally, what they are speaking, little bit I can understand. And finally, last Gurudev was speaking, and they are all sitting in stage, asana. And Gurudev was sitting very humble. He was sitting in the down, in a small, simple asana. And he spoke after half an hour. I was very happy. So nice Harikatha he gave. How Krishna is supremely guarded, he said. And also he said Krishna appeared in Gokul, not in Mathura. Mathura he appeared, but actually he taken birth in Umma Yashoda. Like that he gave many examples and nicely spoke. So I was very happy. First Harikatha I heard that. Then after 6 months, because I had to go back to this one, because full time coming in it's not so easy. Then after 6 months I came back. That time Gurudev was in Western countries, he is speaking. So when Gurudev came back, I met with him. So every day I was hearing Harikatha. And Guru Purnima day I took Diksha. So Gurudev asked me, give me your mala, he said. So I gave my mala, took my japa mala. So I had one copper, this one, copper thread. So Gurudev asked me, Gurudev took my mala like this. He said, what is this, Tulsi or what this one he asked? I said, this is Tulsi. Where did you get this one? I said, Radha Kund I got it. But why did you put copper? I said, because this thread, every 6 years I have to change. So if I put copper, it's very easy, it won't break. He said, no, this is not a tradition, he said. Tradition is you put a thread, he said. Immediately change this one, he said. So I gave to Kalchanda Prabhu, he is the god brother, Gurudev's god brother. He changed that mala within 1 hour, he made it this one. Then I gave it to Gurudev. Gurudev chanted in beat and he gave me. So same name he kept. I was before also Srinidhi. So Gurudev said, this name is good, he said. So my name is actually Srinidhi Shamdas. So Gurudev said, it's okay, this is a nice name, he said. So I was there in Mathura. Gurudev gave me specific instruction. You be with Premananda Prabhu, he said. And Gurudev said, you can also take Shiksha from Madhav Maharaj, Van Maharaj, all their seniors, Sita Maharaj. If you have any doubt, you can ask them. But be with Premananda Prabhu. So I was there 1 year with Premananda Prabhu. Then one day, I think it is 2003, Jhula Netra time, I went to Rup Sanatan. There Radharaman Prabhu and Siddhar Maharaj. They said, Srindi, why you go back Mathura? Here is nice temple. See which is more, which is Shrestha, Mathura or Vrindavan? He asked me the question. I said Vrindavan. So, and water is sweet water here, there is salt water. So you stay here. I stayed there. But afterwards, Prabhuji was a little upset. And so I used to come again. But Prabhuji was not speaking few days. So then I understood. And Gurudev was a little angry. Then in Barsana, Parikrama is going on. I was in Barsana. There are 50 devotees are sitting. Because I joined ISKCON, from the ISKCON I came to Gaudiya Math. One of my god brother, Chaitanya Prabhu, he was in ISKCON. So he also came. And he also took Diksha from Gurudev. Immediately after Diksha, he wanted to preach. Then Vaikanas Maharaj, Giridhara Prabhu, they went with him. So then when they came back for 2 months preaching, so Chaitanya Prabhu asked Srinidhi. So he said, I want to take him. Gurudev was chastised me. Gurudev said, I don't know who's he. Because I told him to stay in Mathura, he came to Vrindavan. I don't know where he is. And so he scolded me. I was happy because Gurudev's chastisement is it's our purification. So Gurudev told me, he is like a donkey, like a monkey, always chanchal. And afterwards he said, but he is qualified to do so many things.
met Gurudev, and then that was nice. It was a nice meeting, but I didn't know how that it would flow from there. But then I was associating with Chandrika, my godsister, who was also very close with him, and Karta, Priya. And they used to meet together, and they invited me to their place in Vrindavan for lunch one day. And I was cutting them up some coriander for the lunch, and they were just talking, and Chandrika said something to me which really made sense and really stuck. She said, if you associate with someone, they should have 3 qualities. They should be more advanced than you, like-minded, and affectionate toward you. So, because she was affectionate toward me, and all the devotees that I met in that sangha were, and Gurudev was very kind to give me that first instruction, then I thought, And yeah, I just started associating more with the devotees, because I saw that the devotees in his sangha were serious and sincere, so that's what I wanted. What really did it was when I was 50 years old, and I had just gone into menopause. And some of you who have mothers might know what menopause is about, but it can be a very emotionally volatile time. And for me, it wasn't so physically difficult, but it was very emotionally. And for some reason, as soon as I hit the age 50, I stopped reading. Like, I would read Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, any of Prabhupada's books, at least 1.5 hours every day, and I loved it, and I was absorbing so much. But for some reason, I couldn't read anymore. And it was at that time that you know, like they say, when you're ready to die, your whole life goes in front of you. You see everything. It was almost like that. It was like so many things were coming up, emotional things, and I was practically on the floor crying for practically 3 months. And one really huge anartha was surfacing in my heart, and I was praying about it, praying to Srila Prabhupada, and I called Yashashvini, and I said, you know, I was telling her about it, you know, and she said, oh, I heard that if there's a pure devotee present on the planet and you pray to them, they will help you. They can take the anartha out of your heart. So that's when I made that connection with Gurudev. And he did. And that's really when I started associating more and started going on the parikramans and everything. And I had another experience like that, where I remembered that, how the pure devotee can take anarthas. And I had a very difficult relationship in my marriage, and there was sometimes some anger and fighting going on. And I'm the type of person, even if anger is there, I kind of suppress it, but it was coming out really big time toward my husband. And it was also, it wasn't fresh anger, it was also something from my childhood, so it was coming out hugely. So I remember sitting down and just thinking of Srila Gurudev and praying really, really deeply. I mean, I felt like he was completely present with me, and I was completely present with him.
Once I was in Murwillumbah in Australia. I went there to get my visa for India. And then I went to see him, and he thought that I had come, I think, to assist him in his worldwide tour, but I explained that no. And he said, you should think of yourself as something like that, I'm this, something like my shoe, it's like I'm part of him, in other words, and that's the reason for my existence, is to serve him. Shouldn't think of oneself, myself as independent or separate from Guru. to get free of false ego is so important in order to advance spiritually. So he helped me a lot, like, in different ways. It just practically. I remember once I came for the pravachan, Gurudev's pravachan in Keshavji Gaudiya Math, and I was really late, and I came underneath. I was going to duck underneath him and sit down, but then he grabbed my ear and he was like moving side and from one side to the other like a little boy who's been naughty. So I said, you want to sit up here, but I figured you shouldn't be late, except I was almost always late. I still am usually. That's just my problem, one of my problems. But just I felt that helping me to give up my false ego, helping me to consider myself just Gopi Bharatu Padakamaya or Dasa, or try to come to that platform, becoming a servant of the servant of the servant. And it helped also to understand by his literatures. They assisted me in understanding really what was the mission of Srila Prabhupada, what is his mission, the mission, what he had come to give. I don't know why Srila Prabhupada himself, he wrote so many literatures, but I read almost all of those. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and some others, but they have the saying in English that it's difficult to see the forest for the trees. Someone who has an overall perspective, like Srila Gurudeva, who knew Srila Prabhupada, he could enable others to have that perspective. Since he was had an intimate relationship with him, like someone who wants to meet a very great person, then they can't just enter into relationship very easily. One has to have association with someone who's dear to that person, then one can actually meet them. So he brought us into that relationship.
One of my first, on tour it was really nice because we got to spend a lot of time with him in the airports and stuff. But one of my really sweet memories was my 18th birthday, I believe. And Madhavi Glick had said to Gurudev the day before, she said, tomorrow's Krishna Priya's birthday. And I was like all shy because I didn't know in India that you got blessings on your birthday. I was just like, whatever. And so Gurudev came from Mathura. He'd go on his morning walk every morning, and he came back and he did pranam to the didis, and then he looked at me and with his eyes all serious, he's like, come here, and everyone's like, oh, Gurudev's calling you, and I was like, because that he had remembered from yesterday when Madhavi said it was my birthday today, and then he came to me and he's like, sit down, and I kind of kneeled down there, and then he did Mangalam, Bhavatu, Kalyana, and I was like so like touched that he remembered, that it was my birthday, and I got a picture of that, but I was just like, it was really amazing. But one special thing about Gurudev, I guess, is the internal connection he has with everybody. And I always have dreams about him, and I feel like he's still here all the time, which he is. But on tour I had a dream that he gave me some instructions about, helping Shamarani Didi paint. And I went to him in Mathura, because it was just at the end of the tour, and I said, Gurudev, you told me to, in a dream, that I have to help Shamarani Didi paint. And he said, yes. And then I'm like, is it true? And he said, it's true. And then I was kind of like, well, how can that be? I was a little bit skeptic, and so I was like, and then I thought, do I need to explain what he said to me in the dream or whatever? So I actually went to him again and I said, Gurudev, about that dream. And he said, yes, it's true. Why are you asking me again? Like he got, and that's happened to me probably 3 or 4 times with him when I've gone to him to confirm, an instruction or something he said to me. And yeah, he actually wrote my father one time, and he said, when I'm thinking of my disciple, I go to them in their dream. So, but I thought it's really nice, like if we want to be pure, if it's not about us thinking about Gurudev, if the Vaishnava or pure devotee, Gurudev's thinking about us, like, can you imagine how special that is? So.